like both political party have Labour right who work with Dan Anderson, PNP have PNP who work with Dan Anderson. So the PNP supervisor for West Kingston, who supervised the polling for West Kingston, my Labour right, they more call and say, yo, you know, so we are going to your place tomorrow. So him know what time, we know what time he are go, so we notify with people. So when the polls are go off with people, must say, no, the same thing when we just described to you a while ago. Put it on the PNP hat and see how it work. The same thing. There's no difference. We use the JLP as an example because I don't want people to say me bias. But put it on the PNP head and you see how well it fit. You know,
Yeah, man,
the JLP is not in the business of
the
polling.
logic.
The
We get
PNP,
it, chap.
the PNP is not in the
But
the JLP is not in the business of polling. The PNP is in the business of polling, and I'm telling you that that is how they do it.
full agree with you. But when you ready for the surprise of the day or the afternoon,
Go ahead, my boss.
go ahead.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
The Prime Minister no name it yet, man. So we not prepare for celebrate who is the next Minister of Finance.
Wait, you know?
Well, people are speculate. People say whatever Wilmington.
Yeah, brother.
Well, right.
Anybody the Prime Minister say him will work with, and that is where it's at.
That's true. That's true.
When him Cliff Hughes just try get it out of Nigel Clark, and Nigel Clark told him point blank, that is not my place. The Prime Minister job that. So me yourself and our job that. But you know, I always say the polls is either. And this I don't know why labor rights get jittery every time, and every time it never fails. And that's why Mark Golding keep on using it on you guys, because you're not too timid. We don't need to brave
I'm
up.
not timid. I'm not
I
timid.
tell you. I wonder why you're so jittery, because your enemy come public, come peddle some information in front of you. Your enemy, the People's National Party, come publish some foolishness, and that make you jittery. We don't need to get a spine, man.
No,
Some liberals, we need to get a spine, man.
no,
Me
man.
agree
The
with
thing is,
Prime
bro.
Minister.
The thing is, bro. You have to understand, So people is people. Some people strong, some people weak. Some people who say them are labor right and them are not really labor right. That's what I'm saying. Some people just put on a shirt and say, boy, I may never vote yet. But them put on a shirt. So you have to understand, say you deal with some people where you understand just before me come in the on the platform, you guys was talking about this demonstration going on in July, right? And some I tell you, say people are just people. So it's not that people get weak because them hear the poll, because people like me don't believe in poll.
Believe in polls?
I don't believe in it.
Okay.
It's easy to manipulate, because if what Trump is saying should go so, let them select even the location as a part of the brief, then obviously I will get the favorable results you're looking
Yeah,
for.
because it's bias.
Exactly. So it should all lean to a certain angle. Me did the funny website last night, the poster website last night. I mean, I looked to see if them sign up to a ethical international standard, to see if they adhere to these sort of standards. But it looked like I couldn't find any. So I don't know. But it's interesting to know still. It's very interesting.
So I heard that Dan Anderson, like him do some polls that, like some, I think it was Saint Lucia, one of them Caribbean.
And it went the complete opposite.
Right. And people mad at him. So right now, I don't think him can go back there, go do ahead, go conduct a next poll.
There was another poster in Jamaica as well. Name again. Don't understand. What the other one name? Remind me of name again. Him did more credible.
Bill Johnson.
Bill Johnson. Yes. Him did more credible. Healing's discussion. Healing's my brother. How you doing, man?
When I know about Carl Stone, you know, Carl Stone must say a long.
Years ago.
Carl Stone, I must be the older people them. Me
He
old,
was,
but me not so old.
a professor. He was a professor up on a UR thing, but he was good. From what I heard, he was really good.
Me don't know about nobody else, so I don't get jittery about these things.
Me neither me neither. I don't that any information coming from the People's National Party cannot be
No, but
trusted, especially in this season. And
Same with me. I'm not moved on our
no
shit.
man, me love it. Like
Me
me
not
agree with the
move
Prime
our
Minister.
shit.
I love it. Love it like what the Prime
Philippian, that's
Minister
not
said
true.
last night.
That's not true, Philippian. You're
Alright,
weak
tell me
at
about
labor
myself.
rights.
Really? A
Philippian,
long time I not see you.
It is.
Philippian, you are a
Sweet.
weak at labor rights. I can
For
tell
real?
you that. Of
For real?
course, you're weak.
A
Are
long
you
time I not see you.
Philippine, you're
You're
the
the
A long
boss.
time I
strongest
not
among
see you
us.
doing.
You're the
You keep
boss.
up
Me going to Alliance thing all the time. Me no weak.
exactly and you keep away.
No man, she may tell her she weak. Right now, if
Philippine
she
is the
hears some things,
strongest.
she stressed out. I'm telling you.
No, differently still. Nothing now stop me from go vote.
No, but
I did
listen.
not say that, but I mean, based on your
Oh,
weak,
imagine I'm not young. Well, I only sound young, but you know.
Philippine, you're very weak. I can tell you that. You need some stamina. You know what I
I want
mean?
this.
Me not lie.
A long time I not see you know. I want one.
Sweet, the lady say a long time she don't see her, so you come greet the lady. Behave yourself,
What that
man.
mean
Come
say?
to you. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Back to
Because me
political art.
attack the truth.
yeah, but when I listen to the loud minority, that's when I get jittery. The very loud
No, man.
minority.
No, man. It's not HR. HR, listen to what I'm one second. What me I say, eh? Me like what the Prime Minister said last night, and me agree with him. Him say, yeah, man, it gave the kicking boost, so we did need long time. I agree with him. So now people are running and I said this, that. Yeah, now we're going to kick into an extra gear now. So they say, yeah, go on through.
Listen,
Campaign start.
of all the things that Dr. Nigel Clark just said to Cliff Hughes, you know what he said? Hey Jimmy Q, thank you. You know what he just said that a hit alone resonate with me and stay with me. He said Jamaica's best days are ahead. Oh no, do you hear about it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
I
bigger
heard
picture.
it.
Yeah,
I heard it.
that's the bigger picture. That's the
I
bigger
agree with
picture.
you.
And that's why him there. He is the outgoing finance minister, and him a tell we can know where him set. And that,
But
those are his last words to us.
the
And
prime minister,
to run with.
the prime minister did say that in a while back when they did when we did realize Nigel Clark will leave. And I said there's too much brilliant mind in the country. And why me have confidence if him do it already and get Nigel Clark and put him in the position, I'm going to find somebody else that can hold the seat for me. I'm going to do it. Me have confidence in him.
I agree.
Listen, the other night when he was being awarded the prime minister, and he was speaking and he was telling the story of how when he was going to university and them little university days, and he's saying to see that now he has so many friends, prominent friends in society who made something of themselves. So people, along the prime minister did a plan and a prepare himself for this day. Yeah, him not surprise not take him. Him know
Yeah,
to go
exactly.
find.
One
Him
of
know
the
to go
things where
find.
we
Right,
can
him
look.
know to go find the talent what Jamaica need to bring me forward.
Exactly.
One
Vision
of the things
2030 is still a thing. It's still a goal.
One of the things where we feel look on the Prime Minister and look up to him, this man is a leader. You see what I'm saying? This man not just come say, boy, I want to be Prime Minister and him a go do this, and you know what I mean? This man just come and him is a father, him is a brother, he's a role model. He's somebody you can look up to and say, yes, Prime Minister, well done. You do a good job, sir.
And Sweet Pea,
So I'm saying?
and it's precisely for that reason why people are calling Big Tita, because they know what they need. For too long, the prime ministers that we have had in the past, right? did not demonstrate the kind of leadership that we're seeing now from Andrew. So they know where the dictatorship argument come from? The COVID period, when Andrew ordered a lockdown of the country, and for good reasons too.
No.
You know
Crystal
something,
Tomlinson was the one who boldly said it, and she got a piece of thump in her face over it.
When did
Not
she say that? When did she say that?
physical
When?
thump. Crystal
When?
Tomlinson?
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said
yeah,
it. She said it. Before. Which election did she challenge? Cuthbert Flynn.
I think 2016.
2016.
No.
Right.
2020 was 2020 election.
2020 when she run against
Yes, 2020.
Well,
Juliet
it was leading up to that time. It was before the election, and she was the first person who came out publicly. Crystal Tomlinson, baby mother 13. That's why I don't say she drop off at the map.
But you know something, guys.
You know
something, guys.
She leaves politics.
2020.
But when she said it, she said it before. She did not. She said it before the election. She said she was the first person who came publicly and accused the prime minister of being a dictator. I'll never forget it.
I think I remember the conversation, Kizzy. But you know something, I'm gonna say this. You know, that's why I one thing Edward Seaga, he should be a dictator because when that the guy Duncan, what's his name? DK Duncan. He said PMP should run for 100 here. And you know where Edward Seaga did get the opportunity to change up with the one-term government, one government, and him never hack on it because when them did not contest the 83 election, that's what Edward Seaga should have done. Just turn Jamaica in a dictator country.
Republic.
I'm going to say that. No man, a DK dog can say it, man.
Let me the word dictatorship because we have the only instance of dictatorship that we had in this country's history was 1976 under Manley when he locked up.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
We have not experienced dictatorship and we don't want to experience it.
Don't get me wrong, you know. I don't want you get me wrong because I am saying it, but I still don't want you to get me wrong. Manley did it. Edward Seaga get the opportunity to do it, and he did not. That's what I'm saying.
You see, did we all check that our national anthem speak of this leader that we have? Our national anthem says, "Give us wisdom, lest we perish." And this man is above him time. This man is a visionary, a dreamer. He is way above him time. So all them attack, this man is the right man for run the country because anything else under him, the country will suffer.
True, man. That's why I said this man is a father, him is a brother.
Is being sarcastic. You can flood him out, please. Active duty.
Yeah, keep it black one then. Quick and fast.
Done. Okay, back onto other more positive news.
The active duty account, the black kid man.
You know, say a chopper come over with him comrade for them. A chopper can't come with them over here, you know.
What they do?
Because we're there from morning almost 4 hours and maybe a 3 or 4, but for next if your account come in at the box, then full up over here with the negative self. Me not stop a black. About 50 me black now. My God. Stop follow back a chopper. Stop follow back a chopper.
What you have to say about your local thieving Clad friend? What you have to say about him?
Which one that?
Mr. Clark.
And whether I have it hard in a PMP time, I have to take time, I work with it.
We call him Mr.
Clark, Clark?
Huh?
Who that? Which one? Which Clark you talking about?
Clark, Tiffin Clark. But since my type in that box, I'm not even want to call his name because I'm afraid my mouth might shut.
Hold on. Stephen Claudio Richards.
Yeah.
What do you mean Tiffin Clark?
He say when him there free zone, the little money couldn't help him, so him have to thief the cloths. And me I wonder why me that fair do that in a PMP time.
Oh.
No, but I wonder
Them
about
same
him. I beg.
thief
In coming at the live, you know, since me there, you know, and he don't even comment. Because
But guys,
they know the
guys, as you start that,
Thank you, Doja.
as you guys start that, is it true that one when name hardball thief a gang goat?
Look here. No, but I got there, some man. Just
No,
have
we
a
just
conversation where really
yeah, we
important.
understand, we understand.
Who got there, someone?
Make
Hold on,
left them alone. Left them. Left them. I left. No, discuss them, man. No, discuss them.
Dr. Nigel Clark is leaving.
Okay, Doja, thank you.
And he's leaving government with a central bank that has over 2% of GDP loaded, right?
$5 billion.
Inflation is within the target range of 4 to 5%, which is what they had set, right? Jamaica has more buffer than any other time in our history. Unemployment rate is at 4.2%. Those were things that Dr. Nigel Clark achieved. He also have, as I said to you before, a net international reserve of over 5 billion with a B US dollar, the highest.
Excuse me, Black Susie Queen, please. Black Susie Queen. Go ahead, Chops.
The highest the net international reserve has ever been in Jamaica's history. Jamaica debt ratio is on track to achieving debt ratio of what? 66%? Between 66 and 68% range by the fiscal year completion in 2025. These are historical.
History.
These are the lowest our debt ratio will be in 45 years. Right? These are the things that we have to talk about. The Capital Development Fund is at a 25-year high, which is $6 billion, right? $6 billion capitalization fund, the Capital Development Fund. And we're talking about money that is available to just do projects to Jamaica. There's a 10 billion natural disaster reserve. You hear that? 10 billion natural disaster reserve.
The first in our history.
Of which 5 billion will be used to address hurricane burial damage. Right? And from 94 million. Look here. These are things that Jamaica never have before, you know. When the man talk about $5 billion in a reserve for natural disaster, it means that when a hurricane come, we have money that we can dole out to fix and to get the country back. And I'm talking about, it is monies that we have estimated to fix anything that is equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane.
Chopper, how was that money made? My understanding was that the country was insured.
No, that's a catastrophe bond. That's a catastrophe bond.
Yeah, well,
also new.
Go ahead, explain it to me.
The catastrophe bond, these are investment. These are
yes.
This particular $10 billion what I'm talking about comes from our budgetary allocation.
Yes.
These are taxpayers' money that is set aside for rainy day, for disaster. It's not insurance money. The insurance situation is a different one.
That different situation. So wait. We can get it straight. So it's two situations that's happening in one then.
More than two. There's
okay
more
then.
Than two.
Okay then.
There's way more than two too.
Those are just two of the main ones.
But when you talk about the $10 billion is your money, my money. When the government read the budget a year time and they say, "Man, allocate this to education, this to health, this to local government," all of that allocation, there's also an allocation for disaster mitigation, and that is set aside. That is money, live money that is there. And those funds.
And if I could, Chopper, I think
yes.
each administration over the years, by law, they have to contribute to the fund, even when there's no disaster. They have to contribute to the fund to replenish it.
Yes. As part of his public sector governance, Dr. Clark would have presided over what is considered to be the most transparent process of nomination and selection of appointment of public bodies, where persons are nominated based on a pool, which some people not in agreement with it, but for him it is transparent, and that is what matters most. Required minimum gender participation in public bodies. Required minimum of a third of boards remains when Minister of Government changes. So there's a policy in place now that when persons are on a board and the government change, at least a third of that board must remain for continuity, right? Dr. Clark introduced policies that require a minimum competence requirement for public bodies, meaning for you to serve on a board, there has to be a minimum competency that you have to meet. You have to meet that threshold. The public sector investment management process is a transparent, robust mechanism for the evaluation of public investment projects. The public investment appraisal branch was established as a division.
Mute your mic, please.
The public investment appraisal branch was established as a division of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service to assess all public investment projects and to maintain and manage public sector investment pipeline, right? The electronic procurement introduced the government of Jamaica electronic procurement system, and these are all the stuff that Dr. Clark would have achieved, whereby all procurement process across ministries, departments, and agencies above $1.5 million have to be done electronically through the system. This allows for accurate measurement of progress, much better control, and a treasure trove of data that can be used to further improve the procurement system. Under Dr. Clark, they would have launched a digital public sector investment map. This launched a web-based portal that provides the public with a detailed current information on public investment projects. For each project, users can see names of contractors and view project budget versus actual expenditure. It explains the timeline for projects and allow users to comment or criticize and to upload photograph of the project. So what that is, folks, is that Dr. Clark has put in place a system. It's called the electronic procurement. And again, the government, as he said, the government introduced an electronic procurement system where all procurement process across ministries, departments, and agencies, anything above $1.5 million, have to be done electronically. So you have to go on the government website and complete the document through this system. This allows for accurate measurement of progress, much better control, and a treasure trove of data that can be used to further improve the procurement process, right? So it seemed to me like what he did also is to launch the digital public investment map. So every time that the government issue a project through this system, they launch a website, a web-based portal that provides the public with detailed current information on public investment project. So every project that is out there, anything above 1.5 that the government issue, it is on this digital map. So the public can access it. For each project, users can see names of contractors, the budget for the project versus actual expenditure. They can see that in real time. They can see the expected completion timeline and allow users to comment, complain, criticize, and they can also upload pictures. For example, you can go to the website, and if you feel like this patch of road was supposed to get 3 inches of asphalt and it's only 2 deep, and you take a picture and post it, right? Launch the citizen guide to the budget. Produce the nationally distributed Jamaica first citizen guide to the budget. Remember when Nigel Clark just came in, he did that, right? Where the budget is synchronized in a form that they can distribute it to almost every citizen. So everybody has an idea. And I think he really brought more attention to Parliament, you know. Not to say that there wasn't, because there has been parliamentary interests from the days of Audley Shaw. But I think he has done a way more in highlighting it. Economic crisis. Yeah?
And because he was new, because that's who he was.
Right. People was anticipating, trying to understand what this guy brings.
Yes.
Economic crisis management. Principled and prudent approach to the economic management of COVID-19 pandemic that allowed Jamaicans to absorb the grievous economic crisis in history. 11% of GDP collapse, and yet have the fastest recovery of any major economic crisis in the past. Fastest recovery. Within 3 years of the crisis, Jamaica debt was lower than pre-crisis economic. Unemployment was lower than pre-crisis, and economic output was higher than pre-economic crisis. So in other words, what he's saying here is that within 3 years, all the economic indicators were higher than what existed before the pandemic, which is remarkable. Other countries are still struggling today. Dr. Clark, under his stewardship, would have launched an initiative, the CARE program, a policy response to COVID-19 pandemic, which is a CARE program. And you remember all of these packages, various packages for all the sectors in society. Within 2 weeks of Jamaica's first confirmed COVID case, launch a CARE program, an economic stimulus and social support program that provide 1, unconditional grant to the unemployed and informally employed. 2, unemployment grant to the COVID-19 introduced unemployed. Right? So anybody who COVID, it says unemployed grant to COVID-19 induced unemployment or unemployed. So anybody who, because of COVID, became unemployed, they got a grant. 3, special grant to occupational group affected by the pandemic. So the taxi drivers, the this, the that, all the other interest group would have gotten a grant. 4, business grant to MSMEs, among many other categories of grants. 5, a new online distribution channel was launched in 3 weeks, where persons could get their money via electronic transfer, and these things just never exist. Citizens could apply for the grant online with no paperwork or manual intervention, and funds were remitted to the bank or to remittance companies on their behalf. These things are achievements that Dr. Clark is outlining that happened under his tenure. Validation was done by reference to tax administration Jamaica database or the formal database maintained by licenses or authorities for occupational group. Over 500,000 Jamaicans applied for, and approximately 450,000 received grant, making the CARE program the largest social intervention program in Jamaica's history. You hear that? Over 500,000 Jamaicans applied for, and approximately 450,000 received grants, making the CARE program the largest social intervention program in Jamaica's history. Abolished the 4% valerium tax stamp duty on real estate transaction, leading to the greatest surge in new construction and real estate transaction in living memory. This happened in 2019. You hear that? Under Dr. Clark, they abolished the 4% valerium stamp duty on real estate transaction, leading to the greatest surge in new constructions and real estate transaction in living memory. Abolish ad valorem stamp duty on financial transaction, again took place in 2019. Right? Dramatically reduce. Go again.
So, just a point before you continue.
Yeah, you can start at any time, guys. Any point
right,
you can.
I do. What is especially, what is particularly surprising to me, well, it surprised me, is the level of speed and agility with which the bureaucracy created these policies, and because in our time, it's always one policy after another, one product after another, and so I'm surprised at the level of agility and speed that with which the bureaucracy treat with these policies, because I've never seen this kind of agility before. But I'm wondering if something changed in the public service.
Well, leadership really should be commended for that, because when you have a leader who is purpose-driven and result-oriented, that's what happens. You get result because you set a target and you move towards it. Let's talk about it on political platform and leave it there. I think he followed these things right through to the end. He also abolished the ad valorem stamp duty on financial transaction, dramatically reduced transfer tax from 5% to 2% in real estate transaction, leading to the greatest surge in new construction again and real estate transaction since living memory. So these things. So when people ask about what happened, why we have this surge or this increase in activities, economic activities in Jamaica, it is just policies, Policies matters. Good policies matters. And that's what Dr. Clark doing here. He is removing what the PNP would have instituted that stymied growth and development in the country. Yeah, man, go ahead.
Quick question. Where you finding all of these things? Because last time me passed through one live, I hear a brother say, what did the Homeless Administration Institute? And I couldn't believe the people on the platform couldn't answer that.
Well, we're going to make this document available so everybody has a copy of it. These are not secret. There's no special vault for it. If I get it, I'm going to pass it on to every single body.
Please do.
Which platform was that? Was it JLP platform?
It's here. So we don't know how it popped up. Then I realized it was a PMP guy and some people when we follow JLP people did them on the platform. But I just cost them a cost. So I don't understand why they never just even said 1%. I don't know why they never even said that.
And this is why I will repeatedly speak of the achievements when I'm on a
Shapa,
program,
there was this
because people don't know.
recently there I don't remember what it name, but it had something to do with the airport. That money. Oh God, what's it
The
called?
head tax you're talking about, the head tax, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We're coming to that. One of the other initiatives that's remember we talk about the historical amount of businesses that got registered between 2019 and 2023. The highest amount of business is because of the abolishment of the asset tax, the non-financial businesses. So under Dr. Clark, they would have abolished the asset tax for non-financial businesses. That all micro, small, and medium / large had to pay on assets that they hold. So anything that them have, any asset that the business have, you have to pay a tax on it. Again, this removal or this abolishment of the asset tax for non-financial businesses would have again led to a huge increase in the company incorporations in 2019. And you would have heard us talking about this all the time. The amount of businesses that came on stream is because you remove some of these hindrance. And look, remember when you had these taxes in place, it was a part of the revenue stream of the government. The PNP implement all of these asset tax. They implemented the valorem taxes. All of these, they put them in place to gain revenue so that they can pay for the high interest rate policies that companies like DB&G would benefit from. I could just break it down now so you don't understand. In order for the government to pay on the interest, the high interest rate policies of Dr. Omar Davis, the PNP would have to put in place some of these taxes. The JLP, in his wisdom, said, let's remove these taxes. When you remove the taxes, for example, up here when we talk about the abolition of the 4% ad valorem stamp duty on real estate transaction, it says here that it leads to the greatest surge in construction and real estate transaction. Now, when those transactions increase, what does that mean? When construction increase in Jamaica, it increase labor, productivity, consumption. People get more work. And when you have that, more cement to buy, more house to build, more apartment to build, those persons are now paying taxes. Remember now, the stamp duty are 4% on transaction. But that's a limited amount of money. When you remove that, you open up a bigger pie now, and more people start to pay taxes. Right? So it was just genius move and strategic and deliberate move by the JLP, where we saw this sort of growth and development in the country. The reduction of GCT from 16.5 to 15% is another great move. The JLP again introduced the 375,000 CSME tax credit for every small business in Jamaica. Prior to the SME, the MSMEs paid tax on. Prior to that, let me go back over this. The JLP under Dr. Nigel Clark would have introduced the 375,000 MSME tax credit. So you get credit once you pay 300 and once you make 375,000 or less for every small business in Jamaica. Prior to this, MSMEs would pay tax on every dollar of profit made. You understand that? Every dollar of profit made, you would have to pay taxes on it. Due to the MSME tax credit, MSME tax burden is reduced by 375,000 each year. So that's a threshold that was set, and what that did, it stimulates small businesses. So more businesses have money in their pocket, than prior to, because before that, what you had was you have to pay taxes for everything. So instead of gathering up brown envelope and placing them at Belmont Road and calling people to give it to them, the JLP create an environment where every aspect of the society can benefit from the prudent fiscal management of the economy. And we see it work right before our eyes. And here is a document that we can read to get a better understanding of some of these policies.
But Chops,
Yeah, man.
so you're telling us that Nigel and Andrew abolished tax, didn't impose any tax for,
And get more money in the coffers.
and still manage economy.
No manage. It's not just manage.
You're sure not like, because another PNP senator, you're sure not lie to us?
No, I can't, because it happened in front of your eyes. The budget speak to it.
But PNP say about management that when I run country good.
All right, so there's another one here, which is the introduction of an exemption threshold for application for the custom administration fee, right? The CAF fee, remember that one? The CAF? The CAF fee is at $3,000. A $3,000.
Seem like Chop get a call. Somebody give him a call. So that's why I'm thing on mute immediately. But guys, are you really just sitting here and listening? I am sitting. I mean, I follow the politics daily, and I know that Dr. Clark has achieved a whole lot. The proof is in the pudding.
We know that.
We see where we are as a country, but you see how long Chops there and a fair real of achievement. Things done, work done. Huh? Wow.
Yeah,
Nigel abolished tax. He didn't impose any tax. It's in a
increase revenue.
Right. So he abolished tax, didn't impose any tax, and give the country a rebate, and then PNP want us to believe that is bad economic management.
No, man. What Nigel has demonstrated here, is how you can. No, if you want a definition for financial engineering, this is it. Not the one that Mark Golden talks about, which is really creating a messy situation that caused FinSac. So there's a difference between the two. If we want to compare the two, we can. But the introduction of an exemption threshold for application of the custom administration fee, the CAF fee, is $3,000. And used to apply. This used to the CAF is a $3,000, and this was used to apply for all shipments. It used to be applied, to all shipment. So export valued at say $10,000 would pay a 30% tax for the privilege of exporting. Let me go back over it again. What existed before was a tax when you export goods for $10,000. You would have to pay a 30% for the privilege of exporting. Export, guys. You understand what export means? I don't say import, I say export. You want to sell manufactured goods or services from Jamaica to another country to earn foreign exchange, and the PNP had it set up in a way that you had to pay 30% tax for the privilege to export. Today, only shipment valued more than $500 or 72 72,500 pay calf. In 2021, more than 50% of exports fell below this threshold. So what they did was they increased the threshold so that more people can get through without paying the taxes. You get the gist?
Yeah.
In other words, you lift the threshold higher, so it only affects the larger businesses. The smaller businesses now who are creating small things and are exporting it, people who are selling on Amazon and them stuff there from Jamaica, who are sell Jamaica bead, or them sell Jamaica product. You know, one man have a little Aki company down the road or whatever, them not get affected. So, and I'm going to go back over this. I need to understand this one a little bit more, the calf threshold. I need to go back over it a little deeper. But what it really is increasing the threshold so more people can get through without paying that enormous tax that was levied on them. Reduce the import duty on electric motor vehicle from 30% to 10%. There was a 30% tax when you import an electric motor vehicle. You used to have to pay 30%. The JLP said, no, only pay 10% because we are encouraging renewables. We're encouraging cleaner energy, an electric vehicle or cleaner energy. So, again, you can't beat that. The JLP, again, under Dr. Clark, would change the GCT tax basis for sale of second sale car, which is second hand used car, what we call used car. So they change the GCT tax basis for sales of second sale motor vehicle by registered motor vehicle dealers. Example, not imported new and not imported used, from 15% on sale, on the sale price, 15% of the price of the car, to 15% of the dealer dollar margin. This, again, I need to get some clarification on it. This policy makes the secondary sale of motor vehicle a real business. Right? All right. This one, we're going to go over this one again and get some clarification on it. But it says that we change the GCT tax basis for sale of second sale motor vehicle by registered motor vehicle dealers. And the example, not imported new and not imported used. They have changed the GCT from 15% on the sale price of the car to 15% of the dealer margin. And this policy makes the secondary sale of the motor vehicle a real business. So we're gonna seek some clarification on this one so as to better explain it to persons, so we can make people understand how it impacts the average Jamaican. Introduce an income tax credit for purchase of solar PV system equivalent to 30% of the purchase cost of the solar system, up to a maximum of $4 million. So, again, introduce an income tax credit, meaning you pay no income tax, for purchase of solar PV system equivalent to 30% of the purchase cost of a solar PV system, up to a maximum of $4 million. That, again, is encouraging renewables. You don't pay like one time before now. It used to be really high. And every time you buy anything in terms of solar batteries and them something, let them knock you over the head with taxes. Increase the minimum value for import goods from $50 to $100. You remember those?
Yeah, that is.
You buy something online, and
yes.
That right. So
I tell you, them ride the government for that. Them ride the government for that.
yes.
Yeah.
this is now at $100. So meaning that anything you buy for 100 or below, there's no taxes for that.
Right.
No duty. It
Right.
comes in free. Above that, then you'll attract some duty there. Increase the passenger duty free threshold exemption from 500 to 1,000. You remember that, folks? When you travel and you come home, you used to stop at immigration. You would get a slip, a pink slip. No, they don't give you the pink slip anymore. They just,
Clear?
right. And if you tell them that you have shipped a box, a barrel, or you bring something in, you have a barrel, or you bring in, or you have shipped something down, you would get $500 US exemption. The government increased that from $500 to $1,000. So you can now bring home goods valuing at up to $1,000 US without paying any duty at all. Right? And these are for personal household effect, not imported for sale or commercial exchange. Right? 2024 increased the personal income tax threshold from $1.5 to $1.7 million. You hear that? The JLP, when under Dr. Clark again, increased the personal income tax threshold from 1.5, which the JLP introduced in 2016, and they have increased that by another 2%, 2 percentage point, moving it from $1.5 million to $1.7 million. That's it. That's the increase in the threshold. I'm suspecting that they might move it further. Come the next financial year. Increase the pension exemption and the age relief exemption for pensioners and persons over the age of 65 from $80,000 to $250,000 respectively. Again, increase pension exemption and the age relief exemption for pensioners and persons over the age of 65. They have removed it from 80% to 250% respectively. Abolish the guarantor requirement for student loan. Abolish the guarantor requirements for student loan. Meaning that if you want to get tertiary education, you can go to student loan bureau. You can go to the student loan bureau, you can get a loan for your education, and you don't have to have any guarantor. Right?
Remove the barrier completely. Nobody can complain now.
Chops, where is this information? I can't get it. You can send it to my phone.
Document to you, man. I'm going to send to everybody.
Okay, please. Yes.
Once you have the prerequisites to go to university, there's no barrier to funding.
You may continue.
Student loan write-off. Introduce partial student loan write-off for student loan beneficiaries who work for NGOs. All students who work full-time for a charity now have 10% of their loans written off for every year of employment. Hello? All students who work.
We are here, man. We are here. Spread the good news. Spread the good news.
All students who work full-time for a charity now have 10% of their student loan written off for every year they work. So if you work 5 years, have 50% off. Hello, while you're working. Micro STEM Scholarship, introduce STEM Scholarship Program at Micro University, where 5-year, 1,250 teachers.
Bertie, what you want to know more about the pension thing? You're asking Chopper to ask him, but you're in the box, or you can't speak.
You can't speak, man. You can't interrupt nothing like that. Let me clarify. You get clarification.
He need explanation regarding the pension thing. Which pension thing?
The one I just read a while ago?
Bertie, open the mic.
Bertie.
Alright, what I would like Chops to explain is the 1.5 exemption something.
The 1.5?
Yeah, as it relates to pension.
Anybody who earned,
Hold on there. Hold on. Me hearing a feedback. I don't know if I'm me, but I'm in a civil service group and someone was making some claim and saying it's nothing, it's foolishness. And I want to respond, but I don't have all the facts.
All right.
And I'm going to actually screenshot and send you. I mean, Dr. Clark, they sent a video. Someone wanted clarification and person sent the video and wanted further clarification. So I want to respond in the group. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a way for me to get to people as well.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna go back to that. I mean, but all right. So I was at student loan. The micro STEM scholarship introduced STEM scholarship program to micro universities, where over 5 years, 1,250 teachers will receive full paid scholarship to study in STEM areas. Hello, micro STEM scholarship. Introduced STEM scholarship program at micro university, where 5 years, over that 5-year period, 1,250 teachers will receive a full paid scholarship to study in the STEM areas. Right? UTech scholarship, UTech STEM scholarship, introduced STEM scholarship program for UTech. The first one I read a while ago was from Micro Teachers College. This one now is for UTech STEM scholarship. Introduced STEM scholarship program at UTech University, where over the 5-year period, 1,000 students will receive fully paid scholarship to study in STEM areas. 1,000. And this is over the 5-year period. Change the method of application for loan repayment to most outstanding balance first. You hear that? Change the method of application of loan repayments to the most outstanding balance first. For decades, payments were applied first to penalties, then to interest, and finally to principal. This simple change had major impact. See if you understand it, guys. First, when you have a loan, you used to have to pay whatever money you pay. It goes to the interest first. You know, touch your principal. Right? So what Dr. Clark did was to change the method of how your payments on your loan is applied. So it says, change the method of application of loan repayment to the most outstanding balance. Right? And it says again, for decades, payments were applied first to penalties, then interest, and finally principal. They have changed that. So no longer when you make a payment, you can't just go to your interest alone, because if the interest is less than the principal, then the money that you pay is going to the principal. Hello? On reducing balance. You remember how that go? And these are most of these policies that you hear I talk about were implemented by the PNP. Now, the PNP bring to Jamaica over 40-50 billion tax package. There's a tax the hell out of Jamaicans to run the country, because they don't know how to grow an economy. They don't know how to engage private sector. They don't believe in private sector. So their policy is always to tax and spend. Tax and spend, tax and spend. Right? Moratorium on repayment period for student loan, that was also introduced. Reduced pay-as-you-go student loan from 6% to 4%. Successful and historic wage negotiation. Achieved the largest wage agreement in living memory in Jamaica, with over 40 unions representing central government workers, teachers, police, correctional officers, healthcare workers, etc. Wage agreement was for 4 years. Prior agreements have been for 2 years, and we got that for 4 years. Conducted some of these negotiations while still ambassador of economic affairs. You hear that? That's Dr. Nigel Clark, Successful and historic wage negotiation achieved the longest wage agreement in living memory in Jamaica, with 40 unions representing central government workers, teachers, police, correctional officers, healthcare workers, etc. Wage agreements was for 4 years. Prior arrangements have been for 2 years. Conducted some of these negotiations. He did conduct some of these negotiations while he was still ambassador of economic affairs. All right. Public sector compensation restructuring. Achieved a comprehensive restructuring of public sector compensation. Implemented a new single 16 band payment system for the public sector, reducing the multiplicity of salary scale from 325 different salary scales down to 16 clear bands. So 16 bands, reducing the confusing scale that they had, which amounts to 325 different scales. And he successfully reduced that to just 16 bands that goes right across the board, right across public sector. Developed and implemented a new job evaluation tool, conducted a market survey to determine where the government falls within the Jamaica labor market, used data from market survey to develop a 16-band payment structure, and converted all public sector workers to a new 16-band structure. Transformation of human resources and management, the new through My HR Plus. You hear that one? The transformation, this is very important, guys. The transformation of human resource management through My HR Plus, which is ongoing right now.
I use that system.
There you go.
Easy, I love it. I love it.
There you
I
go.
love it. Yes, that as well.
So My HR Plus is the first
Block Hilltop
enterprise
Block
system. My HR
Block
Plus.
Hilltop.
What have that? What have that? You know, I teach them.
He said enemies of progress channel.
Yeah,
man.
block him for that. Me not block him for that. Philippian, make him write it. That not disrespectful to me. Make him write it. Make him continue. Oh no, guys, not you're not officer better black. Me a watch, trust and believe. Me not gonna know where me right here.
That's a black.
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
God know people dead.
Yeah, you know me already.
All right, so My HR Plus is the first enterprise system successfully deployed in the public sector, serving all ministry departments and agencies. The system is now being used by approximately 70 ministry departments and agencies, which is putting the government on the path of a better management of the most crucial resources, our people. My HR Plus allows public service employees to serve themselves.
Mute Helen.
My HR Plus allows public service employees to serve themselves rather than wait 3 weeks for HR to get back with information or letters. Since the rollout of this My HR Plus, over 84,000 self-serve transactions have been processed. And if you don't understand, I think what it does, if, for example, let's say you need a TCC. So my company requires a TCC for whatever the reasons are. business transaction, whatever, I can go online and generate a TCC without any interaction with an individual, because I would have paid my taxes are up to date. My TAJ filing is up to date. So once I go on there and I apply, it just automatically generates that TCC, and I can print it and go about my business. I can go online right now, which I'm about to do, to buy a fitness for a motor vehicle. And I can do that online without physically going to a tax office. So a lot of these things have to do with, and my HR is also now for the internal part of it, where I think Philippian can speak to that, because I think how it works on the internal, I'm not in government per se, so I don't understand how the internal aspect of it works, but I'm assuming that if you need a letter, for example, for banking purposes, I think the My HR app should be able to help you to generate that without sitting and waiting for an extended period of time. Is that correct, Philippian?
That is correct.
Right.
So HRIS, pretty much.
Yeah, so pretty much whatever you used to go to HR to get done, you can actually go on the app and basically generate those documents for yourself.
And I can also apply for leave,
Right.
apply for vacation leave, sick leave, departmental leave. I can apply for a whole lot of things on my HR Plus.
Right. You can also apply for letters. You want to go to the bank, you need a job letter.
Yes.
All that stuff, you can do it just using my HR Plus. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's equivalent to what? Go ahead.
Also, like for people who like applying for loans to purchase vehicles, we are the one who press a P4, a P4 form.
Yes.
It's there. You don't have to go into office to that again for the P4 form.
Perfect. So my HR Plus, as I say, is the first enterprise system successfully deployed in the public sector, serving all ministries and agencies. And the system is now being used by approximately 70 ministries, departments, and agencies, which put in the government in the path for better management of its crucial resources, which is our people. My HR Plus allow public service employees to serve themselves rather than wait 3 weeks for their HR to get back to them with information and letters. Since the rollout of this My HR Plus, over 84,000 self-serve transactions have been processed. So over 84,000 individuals within government departments and agencies have utilized the system to generate letters and do transactions within their department. And these are, you see, when you have visionary leadership, these are the type of results you get. Rationalization of public bodies. Rationalization of public bodies. This is another achievement by Dr. Nigel Clark. At the start of the transformation program, there were 190 public bodies in existence. The reality is that some public bodies have achieved their mandate. Others have overlapping functions and responsibilities. And some public bodies are at a stage where they can be seamlessly integrated into their parent ministries, right? Let me go back over that again. You say at the start of the transformation program, there were 190 public bodies in existence. The reality is that some of these public bodies have achieved their mandate, others have overlapping functions and responsibilities. And some public bodies are at a stage where they can seamlessly integrate into their parent ministry. Reduce the number of public entities by 41 through mergers, closures, right? And privatization. Want to hear that? Reduce the number of public entities by 41. So he would have reduced a lot of these entities through mergers, closures, right? Privatization, and some of them are divested. Some of them they really just sell them and cash in on that. Provide policy leadership to the privatization of state-owned enterprises in innovative transactions. Pioneered the approach of bottom-up distribution, guaranteeing the widest stakeholder, shareholder base. I want you to listen to this, guys. Listen to him talk about again. Under Dr. Clark, he would have provided policy leadership to the privatization of state-owned enterprises in the innovative transactions. Pioneered the approach of bottom-up distribution, guaranteeing the widest shareholder base. Let me put this down in one common term for you. When we bought Trans Jamaica and made it public so that average Jamaican can buy shares, and not just put it out to the public for anybody to buy shares, there was also a clause in the contract that prevent big companies from buying up most of the shares and making the profit. So it was a deliberate attempt to conduct what we could dub a great transfer of wealth from the rich to the poor. Because before Dr. Nigel Clark and Dr. Holness, the average Jamaican did not appreciate stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds was unique to rich people. Only a percentage of people talk about stocks and bonds. Local people don't talk about that kind of stuff because we didn't understand it. When Trans Jamaica and Winton Wind Farm came on board, they made certain specifications that only certain people can buy it up. There was a certain amount that was set aside just for the average Jamaican. So when he speaks to pioneering the approach of bottom-up distribution, guaranteeing the widest shareholder base, those are some of the stuff he's talking about. Creating policies that target the lower level of society and bringing them up. You bring them out of a certain category, them start to invest. They become investors now. They start to recognize that putting the money under my pillar and help me. So I have to invest. And that's what that speaks to. We not done this, State-owned renewable energy company was listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The first sale of 100% of the government of Jamaica asset by way of a stock exchange. This was the largest IPO in Jamaica's history at the time. There were 31,000 shareholders. The Jamaica First toll road, by listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, this was twice the size of the previous privatization and became the largest IPO in Jamaica's history. I didn't even know that this part was there, and I was speaking to it prior because this document I'm reading it for the first time, guys. Public-private partnership, which is what we call the PPPs, provide policy leadership. That this is Dr. Clark now. He would have provided policy leadership, working with our advisors, the IFC, to achieve the successful privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston by way of a PPP. The prior attempt in 2014 failed, having secured 0 bids. I want you to listen to this, guys. The public-private partnership that saw the transaction valuing at $480 million recently with Norman Manley Airport. What Dr. Clark is saying, that the prior attempt was done in 2014, but it failed. They didn't get a single bid. I want you to listen to this, Dr. Clark provided policy leadership working with our advisors and the IFC to achieve a successful privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston by way of a public-private partnership. Prior attempts in 2014 failed because they didn't get a single bid. Now, I can speak this a little further because what happened, guys, how did Dr. Clark manage to pull off this? Is that he went back to the persons who were invited to bid on that contract back in 2014. And he said, you guys were invited to bid on the Norman Manley Airport. It was an attractive opportunity. Why did you guys not bid on it? And they told him, they said, we didn't bid because you had a caveat in there that says we have to pay this amount of money up front. And we saw that as being ridiculous. I said, okay, thank you very much. So he went back to the drawing board with his advisors and he would have changed that aspect of it and made it into something more acceptable for all parties. So when it went back to tender, it had full participation of all the persons who were invited to bid on it. So sometimes you have to consult with the very people who you are asking to do business with. You and them have to be on the same page. So that's why we're able to pull off that deal with the Norman Manley Airport. That's $480 million US coming through. He said again he spearheaded the developed North Coast Road, private-public partnership road, which, if executed, will be the largest infrastructure program or infrastructure project in Jamaica's history. Right? You hear that? Develop the North Coast Road project, which, if executed, will be the largest infrastructure project in Jamaica's history. Multi-layered, somebody spoke about this earlier, multi-layered disaster risk financing. Dr. Clark introduced multi-layered disaster risk financing, whereby a tool of instruments exists to provide fiscal resources in the event of a natural disaster. Jamaica became the first small country in the world to adequately sponsor a catastrophe bond. Jamaica became the first small country in the world to independently sponsor a catastrophe bond. Jamaica raised the cap on contingency fund from 100 million to 10 billion and capitalize it with 5.2 billion to date. That means they add money to it. So they raise the cap on contingency fund from $100 million to $10 billion and capitalize it with $5.2 billion to date. Implemented US $300 million credit contingency claim with the IDB that provide resources in the event of a disaster. You remember when we spoke earlier, we talked about the different funds, the different available insurance that we have for disaster. Never seen before in Jamaica's history. That these are the ones we're talking about now. We just gone to what, 3. Amended the FAA Act to create a national natural disaster risk fund and capitalize it with $1 billion. These are all emergency fund should in case something happen. Social pension. Develop a social pension with the technical assistance and advice of the World Bank. Social pension by 75 and older, persons 75 years and older who did working government did not at all, just for hard time, just on the money, them all and want help. Money is there for them. Unemployment insurance completed the feasibility study on unemployment insurance through the PIOJ and engaged the World Bank to provide advice for implementation through the Ministry of Labor Social Security. So the unemployment insurance, that feasibility study have been completed through PIOJ.
Chopper, when he was speaking to Cliff Hughes, he gave an update on that. He said they signed off on I think the model of how it will be structured and everything. So basically it will be on board very, very soon. That was he gave an update because someone did call in and ask a question regarding it, and he gave an update. He said they already signed off on the entire structure. It's just maybe implementation left.
Perfect. And this is going to be a big deal, guys. For those of you who don't know, in the United States, if you're unemployed, you lost your job for whatever the reasons are, and you're unemployed, you can file for unemployment insurance, and you would get a salary every 2 weeks or every week, or every month, depending on how they structure it, for a period. You don't get it in perpetuity. You don't get it forever. You get it for a period, so it might be for 2 months or 3 months until you get it.
I can tell people about a social program like unemployment. For example, here where I am in Europe, when you lose your job, all right. Of course, there's the generally you'll be notified that you'll be unemployed by such and such time because there are rules. A person they can fire you immediately, and there are sanctions to that. So the system here, it holds you also accountable as a you have an employer and you're the employee. So it holds you also accountable. That means you have to maintain your job, right? But if something happens and you can't just get up and quit, so because you know say you have the unemployment benefit to go collect. No, you will get a sanction. So basically, you have to be at least, and to be qualified for it, you have to be working at least 1 full year. So that's so if you are working, for example, a part-time, you still qualified, but not 100%. So for example, if I lose my job now, so for example, my company I go bankrupt, and they will say, okay, within a month, 2 months time, the company fall, you will be unemployed. I have to go in and report it and let them know what is the circumstances, and I am registered, right? So when at that point now, I will collect like my full pay. That is what the government will give back to me, right? But then the longer I'm on the program, the money start reducing. And during that time when you are unemployed, they start providing you with job openings, and they also send you to get training if there are areas or any form of program with training. So I hope and I pray that whatever the Jamaica government sign on to is a similar process to the one that we have here, because there are some people, they don't want to work, and they will find loopholes, and then they sit at home and do nothing. So the program is always on a restructuring, because every time the people find loophole, so there is several different terms for it. And the one that you have 1 year for the people and we're like unemployable, when no matter what them now holding a job, government could have sent them a 1 million program, then go sit down, smoke every smoke break gone, and then worthless. Me I tell you no. So then you have them people that were permanently dependent, but they get the minimum, and they can't travel, they can't make vacation, they cannot do nothing. Because all the government does is cover their immediate bills. And they do a study, and like they would say per day, a person needs like 30 euros, example, a day to live. And you will not get more than that 30 a day.
Yep. That is it.
That the minimum basic. So it is a great thing, and I'm happy Jamaica is going in that direction. And I just want them to know, yes, only the essential needs. I just hope them hear tight it because boy,
That's the man. That's the man.
yeah, man.
The Jamaicans will abuse it to death.
Listen, if they find one loophole, a problem none of that. So definitely, and I trust that because sometimes when you're trying or testing a new system, you will find loopholes coming. But I'm looking forward to that. It's good to see that the country is finally at a place where you can be saying we are going to implement a program for unemployed persons.
All right, 2 more points. Thank you for that, Kizzy. 2 more points, then I'm going to close this off. 2 more points. The Marcus Garvey Public Sector Graduate Scholarship. This is implemented under Dr. Clark again. Implemented the largest scholarship program in Jamaica that provide 150 fully funded guaranteed scholarship to the UWI, UTech, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, University of London in the areas aligned to the government of Jamaica's priority. Again, implemented the largest scholarship program in Jamaica's history. And that program provides 150 fully funded graduate scholarship to the UWI, to UTech, to Harvard, to Oxford, to Johns Hopkins, and to the University of London in any areas aligned to the government of Jamaica's priority. All right? Dr. Nigel Clark's leadership in 2023. In 2023, under Dr. Nigel Clark's leadership, Jamaica issued a local currency bond in the international capital market. Do you understand what that means? Make it soak in your brain. Jamaica issued a local currency bond in the international capital market, meaning there are persons on the international investment scene who buy that, knowing that they are investing their money in a country that is stable, secure, and is growing. You think about a period under the PNP that Jamaica was seen in that light. Never happened. There has never been a period under the PNP that Jamaica was seen as a viable place for investment of that magnitude. Except for government paper, where Mark Golden and them help to organize so that their companies can benefit from it. So there you have it, folks. That was Dr. Nigel Clark's achievement.
So,
yeah, man.
The social pension, is it only for persons, former employees of this, like within public sector that left without a pension?
No. Any Jamaican you buck up out the road, I walk with stick. 75 money. Enough you walk with stick, 75 years and older, who have, they are not on any government program. If you're on a government program, they're not going to give it to you because that would consider double dipping. Huh? So you'd have to be. So one little man down the road where a farmer used to farm, never used to do nothing. He never have no farmer job or anything. He's now 76 years old. Really can't. He don't have money. Yeah. You can sign him up for social pension, and he can now get.
Hey, Chopper, man, when you talk about farming, you so farming, you know.
Me get
it, you know, cause I have little small scale farmer where them go sell one bunch of banana for their land, then go dig some yam, then go to the market cause you know structure, they not paying, they not savings nowhere, and so they live for years. I know them getting at their age and they never contribute, no pay no INS, no nothing. But then he need no, cause then nobody now look. Then them a mind them pit. Yeah, you know. Then I don't get shot. Yes. You see,
Because farming is a lucrative business.
farming is a lucrative business, but when you do proper farming.
True. Yeah, man. But that is it. That's really. So when people tell you about achieving, that is just 1 minute sign up.
You know how long it took you just now to read out all of that? Make a guess. Make a guess. Even more.
Wow.
Even more to list. And for the most part, nobody need a break in and nothing. So it took you that long. You know, today Cliff tell him same have to stop, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cliff could not accommodate Dr. Clark listing his achievements, what he has done since sitting in that Minister of Finance chair. Mm-hmm.
And if you one of these days he's gonna go through Edmund Bartlett's thing as well, because I have his tourism.
And chap, I want to tell you that this is what I want to hear. Like, we need, because look, the other side keeps saying that they're gaining. Marky B say because of the good work of his party. I don't know which party I talk about. At the 14 MP where them have including himself, I don't see what they're doing. Right? I don't see them putting out work. So all they do is come and make mischief. Because I see the one in Janice Allen take on Ed Bartlett and people are fair beat her out at social media. Right? But what I am saying is, whenever I look on these MPs individually, when they make their secretarial debate appearances and address them constantly, they can go on and their achievements, what they have done, right? So trust me, I think it's something that we need to do more of, because I'm certain I see so many persons in the comments say they're learning something. Enough people don't know half the quarter where Nigel Clark did do and we achieve. They're learning it today for the first time.
True. And that's why we have to keep doing. We can't stop. Always disseminating.
And we have to be focused though and make sure so we deliver structured messages.
And not get distracted.
Because if we did address all of them, we come write nonsense in the comments. You wouldn't list out nothing. You'd have distracted long time and gone cost. and that's what I tell the people, I tell you guys, I keep saying focus. Find your MP, find your council and tell them to put out them works. Make it be known, make we can see it and reel it off. Nothing is happened to Munchie B. She was on live 2 nights ago, but she came in, she was in somebody else's box. The thing is, guys, you have to follow like the persons who are doing this thing a lot, you know. And remember, says some persons, people have a life and it takes a lot out of us. This live is almost soon 6 hours now, and I'm sitting here. I have to be moderating. I have to be paying attention. I have to listen.
You're not paid to do it.
And we are not paid to do it. So when Munchie come on and she sit down, she lose her night rest. I mean, no love it. Me love it too. But sometimes you have to take a break. It is a lot to manage with your personal life. And we are not being paid, which I don't. We not defend no pay neither. We do this for country. So just follow the persons generally who are in the box, because then you will find the other lives. Sometimes you support other persons. You don't go live every day. You have to support other persons and get different points of view across. But thank you so much for that, chap. Thank you so much. Kimmy, you've been in the box for a while. Are you here with us? Marvelous, you've been in the box for a while. Are you here with us? You can open the mic if you want to say something.
Hello.
Hi, Kimmy.
How are you?
I'm fine. You?
I'm not bad. Giving God thanks for life, the greatest.
That is it. So you've been listening to
Yeah.
this conversation?
Yeah, man. I will follow on live. Couple months well now.
Okay. And what you have to
Yeah.
say? What you have to add? What
Well,
stands
only
out
thing
of
I have to
everything?
say,
Mm-hmm.
I am from Old Harbor.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The prime minister doing a wonderful job.
Okay.
Yeah. When I care what the comrade want to say, we wish I can own it in it for 50 years. Continue running Jamaica. He
At
is
the
the
end
best
of the
prime
day,
minister.
the prime minister if you have no life.
Oh God, I feel
Yes, you know,
comfortable with
that's
him, man.
right.
Comfortable. I feel very comfortable with him, man. Me nah lie. Very comfortable. Yeah. He is doing good. Yeah,
That
man.
is good to hear. So who is your MP?
Wilmington.
Okay, well you know the best MP man. You know one of the best MP.
Yeah. He is doing great.
Yeah, but the best MP that man. We love
Yeah,
our
man.
here.
Wilmington. Yeah, man.
Boss.
My mommy want to say something
Yeah
in
man,
the
like
live.
make you speak. Hi mommy.
Yeah, here. Hello, my sweet
Hello.
lady.
Hi.
Oh my God. I love Mr. Holy Hotel. I am 68 years old and I am voting from I was 21. Tell now me at 68. Me figure left. Labor right and go on to what? Comrade, me not under me dead body.
That is it.
Me? No, man. Not under me dead body. Me
I
can't
like
do
that
that.
you too. I like that. So you have been voting for the Jamaica Labour Party for the all.
Of course, I'm 21 years old. Until now, I am 68.
Nice,
My
nice. So
God.
you're
Oh
one of
my
the
God.
right stone.
I proud.
You
I
must
proud of
feel
my
proud, right? To see where your government is today and what the party has achieved in government.
yeah. For I see it. I see what him doing. I see what him doing. And me know say I getting things from him. And if I not him, me couldn't get it. So
Yeah,
I know I love my prime minister. Somehow the prime minister them are running. But it come to Jamaica when me know. Me say, well, this is the best. It's the best in a Jamaica. And I ask God, me asking God to hold him in there, make his team there, make the people them just look and consider themselves and look at it and say, we no want a man with the plan and then we no see nothing at all. Right? We want
yeah.
them man we have a good plan for Jamaica. Hey, Bobby, you can take you back.
Hello. Yeah, man.
Amen to
Hello.
that. Amen to that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And do all this for life.
Yeah, guys, me close my mic because I realize me echo. Listen, me have about 1,000,000 messages. Jesus. But yeah, thanks for your input, Kimmy, and you guys to keep it up and help to spread the message too, you know?
Yes, mama, that me do all the while, man. Tell people about, say the prime minister doing a wonderful job. He's doing great. Voted she at 21, so she's gonna vote next year.
Who is Fluffy? Who is Fluffy? One man. Who is Fluffy? You have to send a request if they want me to add them. But I'm gonna end the live soon, you know, guys. I've been at it for. When I just started, I said 2 hours, and I never know I would be here this long.
I say go, TV. They're going to take you now, just so you can wrap up. So we can't,
All right, Kufi, take
give
care.
thanks to everybody here.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
later.
I don't
Bye.
think time
Guys,
going
I don't know who is live or who is going live, but I'm sure there's a labor right out there right now somewhere in the TikTok world here live. So, oh, the teacher lady. Oh, teacher lady, Miss Fluffy. Miss Fluffy, we have to go add you one next time. I'm tired, you know. But somebody will be live. So big up on yourself and thanks for passing through. And don't get shaky. As I say, find the positive always and make the negative stay. Ignore it. Big up on
Okay.
yourself. Show a labor right.
Yeah, man. Big up to you.